What up, world? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Cosign Conversations podcast. Today we have Amiya Collins, founder of ITSO Vegan. If you've been in Dallas or the surrounding areas and you're a vegan, or if you just love good food, I'm sure you've been there. Today, how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here. I kind of want to talk about your backstory before we kind of talk about today, right?
Okay.
So have you always loved and had a passion for food? And have you always been a vegan? I feel like that's the first question everybody asks, right?
I haven't always been a vegan. I've always had a passion for food
Okay.
because I've always been the cook for my household. We grew up really, really poor. We were homeless for a couple years, and so once we got everything together, making something out of nothing was a big deal. So I've always had a skill for creating recipes, cooking,
Gotcha.
making things taste good that aren't supposed to taste good.
What's one of those recipes that you made that you just whipped up something and it's like, it's actually good?
Okay, goulash. Okay, so what you do?
First of all, I don't know what that is.
Okay, so goulash. So what you do is you take some ramen noodles, so
Okay.
just packets of ramen,
Okay.
and then you want to take like leftover cabbage if you have something like that and mix that in there. And then if you have any leftover vegetables or any type of meat or whatever protein you want to use, mix that all in there. It's like a $1 meal.
Oh,
And
wow.
it stretches so far. You can feed like 6 people off of $2.
That's creative.
Yeah. yeah.
That's super creative.
Yeah.
So, one thing I knew about the website is that you guys make food that's, traditionally popular for regular type of food. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah.
But, they're vegan. Like, how did you come up with that? Like, how do you make something like a chicken sandwich vegan? Or
Well, my thing was everybody in my family was not really turned on by being vegan.
Okay.
They felt like it was something that was going to be disgusting, but I pretty much lost everybody to diabetes. My uncles, my aunts, like we have a very small family left. And so I had to do something, but, and I had to make them eat it. So I never had went to a vegan restaurant.
Right.
I had never really entertained being vegan before until I needed to because of health reasons and taking my background of being poor and making something out of nothing.
Right.
I made cheese from scratch. I made meat from scratch. I just started making everything from scratch. And and people ask me, how did I think of that? It's like, have you ever been poor before? Have you ever been once you develop that skill, it never really leaves you. So
Right.
it just came from the need to make it taste good.
Gotcha.
Regardless.
We're going to talk about from making things from scratch, but I want to dive into why our culture waits until we have health issues to get right. So my dad was diagnosed with diabetes, and my mom, once he got diagnosed, my mom was like, okay, we need to start, living better, eating healthier, working out. But it's like, why do we wait till it's too late? Why is our culture like that? Why do you think so?
I think because we're afraid of losing our culture in a sense. I feel like the thing that we lean on a lot is our soul food. We are the ones that make the greens, the yams, the cornbread. We're the ones who do that. So if somebody's like, no, you need to be eating a salad, it feels like it's taking away our grandmother's cooking, their great grandmother's cooking. And we just feel like it just runs in the family for everybody just to die soon. So that's one of the reasons why, I wanted to focus soul food in the vegan, because everybody wants greens, yams, cornbread, mashed potatoes, and cheesecake and chocolate cake, like at the family reunion. But if it's, if it's done in a way that's going to hurt you in the long run, you got to figure out a different way.
So what was your first vegan dish that you whipped up?
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake.
It was the first one because I had pretty much decided to cut out dairy, so I wasn't eating ice cream. And I just missed it so much. I missed the flavor so much. So I literally worked for about 2 months on making a cheesecake recipe that was so close to the cheesecake I was missing, just out of desire. Like if you ever wanted something so bad, I love food, I just wanted it so bad. And so and people they sleep on that. They sleep on that, don't have that desire, but that's where it came from. But yes, the cheesecake was my first recipe that was like mine. It was like, I'm making this every day. It's my hit.
So how much research does that take? Because how do you find out what to supplement and implement to get the same taste, the same texture, feel, everything like that?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like I'm a different type of person, so following and doing what other people do is just not my strong suit. I'm like not even really good at choreography for real. Like if somebody's already, I just can't. Yeah. So it took a lot of trial and error, tasting, testing, like But what I came out with was something that was so unique that people have to try to figure out what I did.
I like that.
And so that's how it happened, and they don't know because there's no other vegan cheesecake that's standing up like that.
Right.
And that you can just cut through and that has that flavor and it's creamy and it tastes like it has everything in it. And they don't know what I did, but it took a long time to get there.
Gotcha. And when did you know you wanted to turn it to a business? Because it's one thing to like be passionate about it, then it's like, okay, let me start selling it, or what was that journey like? Because I don't feel like you woke up one day like, hey, I'm gonna open up a restaurant.
Right.
So kind of talk to us about when you knew that you at least wanted to start making it a business of sorts.
Well, when I first started the vegan recipes, I was doing it because my son had diabetes. He went into remission after eating vegan. And I started posting the recipes and pictures online. And doctors started reaching out to me and saying, hey, I have some stage 4 cancer patients we've done everything we can. We've had all these treatments. The only thing they can do now is do plant-based. I've seen your pictures online. Do you mind doing meal prep for them? So long story short, I had 12 people that I was cooking for on a regular basis, and it was hard. Like it was just, I was doing it out of my kitchen and, delivering the food to them. But the good thing, let me tell you how God works things out. Since they were cancer patients, their palates were super sensitive after chemo. They could taste flavors so well. So when it was not good, they would be like, oh my gosh, Amiya, no, like this is not it. Yeah. So they were my taste testers at the same time. Okay. But then when I pushed it into being a business, it's because I got tired. But I said, okay, where are these sick people gonna eat if I don't keep on cooking for them? And that was my thing. I was like, where are they gonna eat? I feel so bad where they're gonna eat. So I opened a restaurant so sick people could have a place to eat. Okay. And it just turned into.
And this was the beginning of ITSO?
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you this. When you were doing the meal preps, even at the early stage, was it profitable, or was it something to where you were just kind of like paying for expenses and being able to help people? Or have you always been in the green from the jump?
It wasn't. It was something, definitely, especially with the trial and error and everything. And I had never had a restaurant before. I had never cooked for people before. I had never done anything like that before. It literally just, it hit me. And then since I'm a service-oriented person, once the doctors started reaching out, once I started serving people that were sick, I got sucked in. And I could not stop. So it was almost like a snowball that rolled me into it. Yeah. And I had a hair salon before. I worked in real estate. But the vegan restaurant and what I was doing, it took over me. And so it's just continued to roll. I've never had a grand opening. I've never, it just kept on going. But it was a slow build, and it still is a slow build in the food industry. But what keeps me going is that I have to understand that I'm playing a role to where like everybody has a place to eat, except for sick people. Nobody is thinking about them. So that's where I fit, and I just do everything I can every day to make sure that I can keep it together.
I think what's interesting about that is that you were doing real estate and you had your own salon, you said, and then you let it all go to pursue this. Was it easy for you to make that transition, to let everything go to pursue something new?
No. It was not easy because I was making a lot of money doing what I was doing, and I was making barely any money having a salon and a restaurant. It was a sacrifice that I decided to make for my peace and my sanity. I felt like there was always something that was like inside of me that I wasn't reflecting to the outside world. And everybody always saw quality in me to where I could work hard. I'm going to show up. I'm going to create new systems. I'm going to do these things. But I was doing it for them, not for me. So once I started doing it for me, my finances took a plunge. I felt it was almost like I had almost like withdrawals from getting paid every 2 weeks. Like the money wasn't dropping in there, and I almost felt like an itch, like I need to go there, stuff like that. But it at the end of the day, I have so much more freedom now, so much more peace now. I'm a better person now. I'm healthier now. But no, I mean, it was It was crappy, but it was the best decision I ever made.
See, some people are afraid to take that leap because they don't have that nest egg, that that shield, that cape to help them. So it's like, this is something serious. Like, you really have to put your all into it.
I would say fall without it. Don't have a net down there. Don't have a safety net. Don't have anything you can grip onto, because you won't go all the way. You won't. You're gonna catch on like, oh, there's that 1,000 over there I saved. But when it's like, I don't got that. I don't got that. That's where all the beautiful, stuff comes from. Like that dark, deep. You had to create it. So I would say, don't save 50 grand and then say, I'm going to take a risk, because that's not a risk.
Yeah. People always do that. Like, man, I'm gonna stack up a little more money and then I'm going to quit. Like, nah, just do it when you do it.
It's going to look ugly.
Yeah.
It's going to look ugly, and people may judge you and things like that as you're doing. But this is your time to spend on your path to peace, on what you want to do to be successful, not theirs. And people are always going to judge out of jealousy anyway,
Right.
whether you're successful or not. So fall.
So did you get the building while you're working? So I'm sure they needed to see some income coming in, or did you stop everything you're doing, then get the building?
So with my salon, I had a photography studio. So we did hair, makeup, and photography. The photography studio, I converted into my restaurant. My salon, I gave to my mom, and she still works over there.
Okay.
So that's how I had the building.
Okay.
But I was already using it in a sense, and then I converted it to what it needed to be.
Okay.
So yeah.
But that's not the same one that you're in right now, right?
Same one.
It is?
Mm-hmm. It's the same one. So if you go to ITSO Vegan and you see Studio 21 right next door, that's the salon with the photography studio. That's how it started. And that's why ITSO Vegan is right next door to my salon.
Gotcha. So while we're on that ITSO Vegan, where'd you get the name from?
It stands for In the Style of Vegan. Because when you do karaoke and you sing songs in the style of other ones, it's different, but it's in the style of. So I swear it started off in the style of vegan. And then when I started writing out the acronym, I said, that says ITSO.
Yeah.
And I said, it's so vegan.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's so vegan. And I was like, oh my God. Like, that's where it came from, but it's in the style of.
Yeah. It's so perfect.
Yes, it's so perfect. It's so vegan. Yeah, and it was just like that.
Right. No, that makes sense. Okay, so somebody like me who hasn't really dived into vegan, I have friends give me stuff and I'm like, that's vegan. And I was like, I didn't even know it, right? So what do you recommend them trying on the menu for the first time?
I would definitely say get the Velux wonton nachos. It has the most delicious crispy wonton chips. The cheese is made from scratch. It's delicious. We have Gardein crumbles that we use. It's seasoned to perfection. Tastes like taco meat. Then we have vegan sour cream, guacamole salsa, lettuce, and tomatoes. And every bite tastes like a very crispy, warm taco. And that's what I was missing when I made it up. I wanted that crunchy, cheesy, meaty type of flavor, and so I know that they're gonna want that too.
Nah, that makes sense. Like I've done a few diets, like trying to lose weight, trying to get right, and I don't know, it's something about like crunching on something that's like so rewarding.
Yes, you gotta have that, like that crunch and that flavor, and then you feel like, okay, I'm good.
No, exactly. Sometimes salads just won't do it.
Yeah, right.
Just won't do it.
Whoa, you gotta have it.
Nah, you need a little more.
Yes, you need it. And so me understanding Black culture, Black people, how we eat, and from cooking and from being poor, I created things that I knew that they were going to eat. But the crazy thing about it is that I didn't know that it was also going to attract all different cultures. I have monks and Indians and Asians and white people coming there for greens, yams, and cornbread. And it's the craziest thing to see how much they want it. They'll order like 5 greens, 5 cornbreads, 5 yams. They want it so bad. And I'm like, wow, somebody needs to feed you guys this stuff. Yeah. And I'm willing to do it, you know?
Let's go back to talking about your circle, because entrepreneurship isn't easy. I'm guessing like many others, when you start something new that people don't understand, there's like a lot of backlash. You're like, why are you doing this? Did you have a lot of support when you were starting?
No, unfortunately not. I've had all of the trials with partnerships and figuring out people and learning from being new and everything like that. my brother and I are in partnerships. We're the sole owners of
Okay.
ITSO Vegan, and the support is something that is, I guess you would call it, retroactive to success. People, when you're grinding and you're like, oh, it's so hard, and we're getting these reviews, and people, then they're like, girl, I told you shouldn't. But as soon as you start getting like, oh, we're going to ITSO Vegan, oh, I know her, the support is retroactive. So it's like they just, so no, like it was not. But now I'm forgetting about all of that because I want all the love now. Like even if it's something that you weren't giving to me before and now you're seeing that I finally made it, I still need it because it's time to build those relationships because you didn't know what I was going to do, So I mean, I can't really judge you for that, but now that you know, like, come on.
So you don't take it personal. I'm not gonna lie, I take things personal.
Yeah.
So you don't take it personal?
No, because people don't, smart people, okay, people that have already built wealth and have things, they know that you need to be struggling. They know that they need to wait to see if you can do it. So I can't judge you for not rescuing me. I can't judge you for not being there for me because if you're a wealthy person, you know that's what it takes to have that tenacity, to build that foundation, to have that grit. If I would have gotten rescued or have a support, I wouldn't even be right here right now because I would have leaned on it and not had it, and I would have fell over and you would have never seen me. So no, I don't hold it. I take it as fuel, and I thank them for that fuel.
No,
So
that's amazing. And I know we talked offline, and you said during the pandemic you had to shut down. Like mentally, did you think you'd be able to bounce back?
no, but what I did is I just humbled myself, and I went online. I started GoFundMe, and I asked all my customers. I said, okay, we have to close for 3 months because of the pandemic. And I said, if you guys want us to open back up, I said, you're going to have to help me because I can't, I just literally said that. And they sent us like $8,000. And then when we opened back up, all the customers just came back because what I had to realize was that I was servicing an actual necessity. It was a need. It was sick people. It was people that's coming there with their moms and wheelchairs and having, the oxygen tanks. They need this. So they were keeping something alive. And so it's not even all me. Sometimes I just have to tell people that all the time. It's not because of just all me. It's definitely the customers.
Right. I know. So vegan food, like, can be healthy, but it's also a lot of fried stuff. So like there's a difference. So is there a specific vegan diet for somebody who wants to, like you said, get healthier, and it's something different from people who just love the taste but also don't want to eat dairy, meat, etc.?
Well, I'll say from what I understand about veganism and the body, it's not really about whether it's fried or it's about what your body has to do to break it down.
Okay.
So it has to do a lot more when it's meat. It has to do a lot more when it's dairy. Your stomach has to produce different type of gastric juices just to break down the dairy and the meat and the cheese. So if we just make it 1 or 2 gastric juices that your stomach has to produce, now all of a sudden your body is all over healthier. It doesn't matter if it was fried, if we put some sugar in it. I think that the main thing to focus on is making sure that your body is able to break it down, and so just straight vegan, vegetarian, even pescatarian, make it easy for your body to break down. And that's where the health comes from, not from it being vegan, is what did your body have to do like a machine,
Did you think 5 years ago you know all this about veganism? And
if you would have told me that it was even going to be like this, I would have been like, no, there's no way, you're a liar. I would never even do that. I wouldn't do it at all. I would have said, no, you're crazy. I was doing makeup. I've been a makeup artist for 8 years, and I was also doing real estate, and I worked for Fox. I did makeup for like Ice Cube on Big Three. I was doing celebrity makeup. I was a makeup artist. I wasn't really thinking that much about it, but I've always been a creator. But now it's what I do.
So you kind of always had like that entrepreneurial spirit in you, because it's like you've been doing your own thing, even though you've worked here and there, but you've always been doing your own thing. I really think that derives from like me. I know we talked about it. Like I enjoy the freedom. I enjoy the being able to live life on my own terms, make my own schedule, and forge my own path. What is it for you?
The truth. Everybody doesn't tell you the truth. You have to go get it.
Right.
You have to go find it, and you have to live true to yourself. So for me, being a person that understands what living in your truth is, it just keeps me moving.
Yeah.
It keeps me moving. Like, I got to keep going. And if that means I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm a serial entrepreneur,
Yeah.
but I'm being true to myself and not the old version of myself, the evolving version of myself. So last year I was doing this, but now the evolved version of me says you're supposed to do this, and then I'm going to evolve. And so, yeah, it's going to keep going. It's going to keep changing, and something else will come from the evolved version of myself. So it's never going to stop.
How do you handle people who's around you who's not evolving at the same speed and path as you are?
With love and understanding, because at one point I feel like I was unevolved, and I don't judge. I just allow, and I allow myself to learn and just to accept how far I've come because I'm able to react in a certain
Right.
way.
Right.
You know, it's going to be around me, but it's just kind of like a mirror, an example, something that I can give myself a pat on the back about, you know, and I just keep moving. You having a thick skin, they say it is, you know, something that it's the most sensitive thing.
Yeah.
You got to be sensitive and have like that. You got to know what's going on. You just can't be callous. You got to know what's going on. You got to respond to it, but you still got to have that thick enough skin, but it's still sensitive, you know. So that's the balance that I try to keep.
Yeah.
You know.
Man, I'm trying to work on that too.
Yeah.
One thing I like to ask entrepreneurs, especially the entrepreneurs that have kids, is like, when you started, did you know what your exit plan was? Like, are you building a legacy business where you plan on passing it down to family, or do you already have like an exit strategy in mind?
Well, I've always had an exit strategy from point one, because, you know, if I'm evolving,
Right.
and if you know about that, you know how it's gonna just, you know, so I can't see myself just, you know, so I've always started with, I was like, okay, so how am I gonna get out? I've always wanted to franchise the stores. So as I started writing the recipes, I would create mixes and make things where it can be done easily by anybody.
Gotcha.
And then also I didn't put my face as the face of the brand. I wanted it to be a brand that was like just the brand, you know,
Gotcha.
because I want to be able to sell that. So yes, my plan is to build a legacy, but my plan is first to make it so foundationally solid and so unique to what I felt like it should be that it can hold, because everybody's looking for a way to get what, you know, do what you're doing. So it has to be there, and I'm willing to take that time and make sure it's there. But then once it's there, I'm going to shove it out, and
That's a good point, man, because a lot of people these days, they want the fame and the fortune, right? So they want to build a business that they can sell, but they also want to be the face of it for personal celebrity. And it's like, do you feel like it took longer or harder to build your brand without being the face? Because some people say they support people that they know, or they don't buy the brand, they buy the person.
Right.
Right? So do you feel like it was harder, or do you feel like it was actually easier for you not to have your face out there and make it more about the business?
it made it more diverse culturally without putting my face on it. Nobody knows that unless they follow me and they done figured it out, but they don't know if we're Asian owned, Black owned, they don't know what's going on. So it attracts so much more. And so I didn't know it was gonna be like that, but I love that about it. So I would say, if you have a brand that can stand without putting your face on it, do it, because that heightens your chances of being able to sell it to someone who's not you. You don't want to have to be, oh, I'm not Amiya, but I got ITSO. Like you don't even need to know who I am. You don't even need to know who I am. I got something else going on, but this is what I'm doing over here.
Yeah, that's actually smart, and it's actually something I'm trying to back out of. When I started cosign, I always wanted cosign to be like Nike, just like a household name. But it was like, I started off with like a lot of personal relationships, so that's how I kind of got in the door. And now people know me as cosign. So now it's like I'm trying to put other people out there for the brand, so that it's like you can't detect who the boss is. It's
You
like
don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you can move in silence in the background, live your life, do what you need to do. Make the right moves, and plus, nobody knows you, so they can't get to you easy. They can't just attack you and you can be in the background thinking, master planning, coming up with new things that they don't even know that you're doing because you're working in silence. Silent boss. You know.
Nah, for sure.
Yep.
You said something earlier about like they're not knowing if it's Black owned, Asian owned. So there was during the pandemic, a lot of companies forced to make support of Black businesses. Do you feel like you know, the promotions of, hey, make sure you put out there your Black-owned business is a hindrance, or it's more like a benefit in our culture?
I would say for the days that they want to celebrate it, it's definitely a benefit. On those days where they say, support a Black-owned business, I'm going to post, ITSO Vegan is Black-owned, come support this Black-owned business. Right. But for us open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., right. No. Okay? Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Man, dang, 7 days a week.
7 days a week, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. every single day. I believe that it's like you build your house with the same brick. Every single day, you never stop. And then before you turn around, you have like this huge, you know, but if you're like, oh, I'm going to take a little, 3 hours out of here. I'm going to show up late this day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to close on this day. You're not going to build it up the way you need to. So it's not easy, but that's the way you got to build a house.
And I'm sure everyone wants to know how you find employees that want to come to work every day. Because we're like in a society right now where nobody wants to work. Like the Instagram, social media, PPP, everybody wants to live back in those days. So to be open 7 days a week and have people show up every day, like how is your employee retention?
It's great because I have people that have been there literally from the beginning, and everybody who leaves comes back because I treat everybody with the same respect. As a boss and an owner, I have something I call like the scrub the ground method for my recruiting. So what that means is that when you first hire somebody in, you should be doing the most menial, low job. You should be wash the dishes, I'm scrubbing the floor, I'm doing these things. And if that person sees you doing it and says, oh, let me do that for you, that's the person you keep. That's the person that respects you enough to show up. That's the person that doesn't want you to be inconvenienced. But if they step over you, they're probably only going to be there for a limited amount of time, and they don't really care about you or anything. But if you pick people who do not want to see you suffer, they will show up every day.
That's a gem.
It is. I'm telling you.
That's a gem.
It's called, and I say the boss should be the one doing all the grunt work. The boss should be running to the store. They should see you doing the little bitty things, and then like, we need to make sure, help her, support her, and that's yeah.
Did you implement this from day one, or is it something that you figured out like along the way?
I think it comes from being a woman and being vulnerable, a businesswoman, and you have to figure out what works for you. Right. So yes, from day one, I put myself in a position to where I can do it. I'm gonna do it. I'll scrub the ground. The walls need to be cleaned. I'm gonna do it. And then people came in and took the towel away from me, and they just held it, and they just when they leave, they come back because they have that respect for me. Man,
I feel like a lot of times too, entrepreneurs, they have a hard time delegating, So like, was that easy for you? So like, once you started getting people like, okay, y'all can take this out the plate, I can take this out the plate, or were you somebody who wanted to hold on to something for a period of time until you just had to let go?
I would suggest that as an entrepreneur, you hold on to all the little bitty things that you don't really want to pay anybody to do. That's your job. Like if you know that you can do your own payroll and you can do your own little bitty things, you can run to the store on your own. That comprises I don't care, and that's what my days consist of. And you delegate all the things you're just like, I do not want to do this. Right. I can't stand doing this. I'm not going to do this. And because that's the one I'm passionate about finding a replacement for. If somebody leaves and it's something I don't want to do, I'm replacing them. I need to delegate that. I have to because I don't want to do it. So I can say delegating is easy when it's with the stuff you don't want to do. And that's how I still have a job, still work for my restaurant, but I do a little stuff. Like I'll run to the store, and I'll come do the rescues a little, the little stuff, but so I still have a job, I still have a role, a position, and I'll delegate the rest.
That's smart. I feel like a lot of people need to know that because they either do the opposite or they hold on to everything to get to a point to where, like me, I sometimes like overwhelmed. I do everything, and then sometimes I have so much on my plate that I end up doing nothing. Yep. 'Cause I don't know where to start. Yep. And I'm like, man, where do I go from here?
Yep. So. Yep. That's the thing. And like with people like you, because you know that you're gonna do it so well. So you just got to have people around you that are seeing you do stuff so well, and they just want to help you with a part of it, and they just want to just take a piece. And before long, you're going to start handing off those bricks, and then you'll trust it. But it takes that vulnerability. You got to, and it's hard for men. It's easier for me, I'll say, but that vulnerability, just let them try.
Yeah. So we have this this series on cosign called Relationships with Money, but I want to talk about like the importance of relationships and how sometimes it's more valuable than money. You know, can you talk to us about like some relationships that you built that it's like, man, they've really helped, you know, me get to the next level, or their support alone has been something that I'll forever be grateful for?
I definitely don't have any of those yet. I don't. I wish that I had a story like that. That was like, you know, somebody has stepped in. I mean, the stories I have with my business partners and things that have happened. I've had viruses put on my website and everything. Yes,
From your partners?
Yes, I've had so many things happen to me through getting to this point. I haven't gotten to the part yet to where, oh my gosh, somebody came and da-da-da-da. But one day I will, I'm sure, and we'll talk about it. But right now, it's just been a grind and learning and building and making it to where I can be here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So those partnerships that ended badly, is this, do you recommend, I know it's easier to form partnerships because it's not solely on you, right? Some people told me like, man, I only do partnerships because I don't have enough time to be the only person. I know you're in partnership with your brother, but do you still recommend everything that you've been through in the past for partnerships, or would you say if I did all over again, outside of my brother, I wouldn't have a partner?
So the two sides of it is, on one side, I would say you should always know your full self before you partner with anybody. If you're walking into something to where you don't know your full self or don't know your full capacity or don't know your full potential, you should never partner with anybody because they want to partner with you because they see it and you don't. And that gives them an advantage over you. And before you figure it out, oh my gosh, they've stolen this from me. They've done this to me. I didn't know what happened. And you put yourself in a whirlwind to where you're like, I never want to partner again.
Right.
So you should always be sure that you know yourself first. And that's the lesson that I learned. And so I'll give that. But if you can choose one or two partners that know how to maintain their lane extremely well, that will be the best thing that you can do. A partner that you don't have to check on. A partner that you can say, hey, so-and-so called, all right, I got it, period. I'm not talking to you for 2 days, but I know that everything was mapped out. Just like, you know, if something goes on with who's getting back with KG, what are we doing? He knows it's me, my brother. He doesn't have to worry about it.
Right.
I'm here. Did it go well? Of course it did. Your partner was there. And that's who you have to, but you have to know yourself to know what you accept, know what your boundaries are. But people who are insecure, they don't know themselves, they pick really, really bad partners. And the problem is not the partner, it's you.
Gotcha.
So
How do y'all split up y'all, I guess, duties or, you know, partnership?
I handle all of like the day-to-day for the restaurant, everything that, as far as the shopping, the inventory, the menus, I do the social media and everything. He handles the look, the feel, the maintenance. Like, let's just say that our oven goes out, or the fryer, or we need new banners, or we need to replace some furnishing, or something has happened. I guess more of the masculine like type things. He'll come in and he'll make sure those things are done, repairs and stuff like that. He'll also make sure that we have a great presentation wherever we go, that things are always set up, and I handle the rest.
No, that's amazing. It's balanced.
It's balanced, yeah.
Where do you see ITSO Vegan next?
In the next 5 years, definitely franchised with multiple stores, locations in Atlanta most definitely, and more across Dallas. I definitely see our pre-mixed cheeses and meats being sold in different stores because we do have a unique flavor, and especially the desserts like the cheesecake. We have a great Oreo cheesecake, strawberry cheesecake, regular cheesecake, and we haven't found another one. So I see that, I'll say, just the expansion I've dreamed of, and the things that I've needed from it, I feel like are going to be coming into fruition.
So franchises and products. Do you see yourself still operating in there, or do you see yourself doing something else?
I'm going to be doing something else. By the time, after I sell ITSO Vegan and we have the franchises, I only want to be responsible for the manufacturing warehouse that like sends all the franchises their stuff, and barely that. I want to have a manager in there doing that, and then for the rest of the time, I think I'm gonna open a school for girls, because girls really aren't getting taught like how to sew, how to cook, how to clean, how to maintain things, how to build families and things like that, how to be feminine. And I've always wanted to do that. So once I have that foundation, I'm just gonna go do that.
That's a good point. So on the other side, what do you think a man for school would look like? A school for men would look like?
A school for men?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a really good question. Definitely men need to know now about how to be a provider that is outside of what they've taught is supposed to look like. For example, most men now think that being a provider is all about exactly how much money you can bring, no matter how much you're gone and things like that. But I would like a man that knew how to be a provider based on like all of the facets of being able to motivate your family. You're providing the motivation, you're providing the spirituality, you're providing the sensuality to your wife, you're providing the nurturing protection. You know, you're providing so many things that if, let's say you have a hard year, nobody gives shit.
Yeah.
Because look at all the other stuff you're bringing to the table, not just money. And I think that once they see like, no, I'm provider, okay? You know, I don't, you know, that trust like you used to have for your grandpa. Like even though like the car breaks down, you would see he's out there working on it. Like that's what I mean, like your provider, you know?
I agree with everything you said. On the flip side, it's like both sides need to be able to accommodate.
Yes.
Because, you know, men think it's all about paying bills and, you know, having the most money, because right now our society, not all, but like a majority of women are looking, let me not say this, I don't want to get canceled.
I know what you're saying, I know.
I won't get canceled. But, you know, some want to be taken care of, right? Some think providing is, I don't want to work, can you pay the bill? Some, not all. So it's like, that's what society kind of pushes out there. Like, so it's like, it's hard. Like, I'm gonna be honest, so I didn't know what a provider looked like, because all my father did was pay the bills. So my mom she cooked, she cleaned. Me and my mom cut the grass. Me and my mom went to go get oil changes and all that. She did all that. My dad paid the bills, and she was like, I guess he's good to go. He didn't have to do anything else. So when I became an adult and, you know, had my kid and was in my relationship, same thing. I paid the bills. I felt like I didn't have to help you cook. I didn't have to help you clean. You know, I would help with the kids when, you know, my schedule
Permitted you.
Exactly. And I realized after the fact, when it was too late, that that's not what a provider is.
That's not what a provider is.
Yeah.
And it's something that, you know, you have to go through that to learn that. But now you know, now you'll be a perfect person to mentor, teach a boy, you know, because you've learned from your experiences. And I definitely feel like that's a valuable gem. People don't get to go through it and then see it and then know how to turn around. So I think it's great. Even though it wasn't so great having to learn a lesson, I think it's great because now you know. Now you know what it looks like.
I definitely know what it looks like. And, you know, like, sometimes when you're in it, too, like, people will try to help you and try to tell you, but if you're not in the right space to receive that information, you feel like they're talking at you.
You're threatened by what you feel like you know. The foundation you're standing on is being shook by this new information. So that's why you had to go through learning it the way you did, but now it's in your foundation. So now it's part of your character, and that's amazing.
Nah, for sure.
Yes.
And I think, you know, men in general need to stop relying so much on money. Because, like, even now these days, like, they won't fix certain things. They're like, well, I could just hire somebody to do it. You know, there's beauty in doing stuff yourself and being able to teach your kids that, you know, your sons or even your daughters, and being able to be the one in your family, like, don't worry about it. I got it. Because women want to feel safe.
Yes.
You know?
And I'll say, like, you know, like you said, doing things yourself. Like I've always done my own hair. There's certain things I've always done myself, because there's certain things that you always need to be able to do. I really don't eat out that much. I'll go out to eat when I'm asked, but I always cook my own food. There's certain things in life you need to keep your hands on. And if it's valuable to you, like if it was to be snatched away, so keep your hands on it. And as far as like being a woman in business, I feel like that's very important nature for me too. I'm like this,
Right.
like with the kids and everything. And I think for a man, he needs to be able to do the same way with the nurturing, protecting, and, you know, providing. But that nurturing, protecting is first. You know, that's the good stuff.
You know, like even with your business, like you have to like nurture it. It's like your relationship with it. You have to, you know, give it love, attention,
Yes.
and all that. Does that take a lot of your time?
No, not now. It doesn't. It's more about, it's almost like when you first have a baby and it's so little and there's so many things, but then you get like your second child and, you know, now you know how to handle it. You're just kind of like throwing it on your hip, you know, you got everything going. So that's how it is now. I know that I'll receive calls, but I know how to delegate. I know who's responsible to me. So it doesn't absorb as much time. It gives me more time to brainstorm and think about how I'm going to get things done and build relationships. I have that now. The finances will come, but I think this time right now that I have to just, this is the most valuable part right here.
Gotcha. If there was, while we have this platform, you know, we can work on relationships. So if there's somebody specific that you would want in the city of Dallas to come try ITSO Vegan, who would that be?
Oh
We're going to speak this into fruition and get them to come.
Oh my God. You just like really like, you see my girl in my head. Like I still have not stopped. Ooh, in the city of Dallas.
The city of Dallas.
Let's go ahead and get Mark Cuban to come out.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and get Mark Cuban to come out. Let's go ahead. Let's get some NBA players.
Okay,
Let's get some
Luka
retired. Let's get some people who know how to support and know when they see a diamond coming in.
Okay, so let's get Des Bryant.
Let's get Des Bryant. Yes.
Yeah, okay, Des Bryant, Mark Cuban.
Yes.
That's what's up.
Yes.
We're going to speak this into fruition.
Let's go.
And before we get out of here, I always like for entrepreneurs to give their one piece of advice to struggling entrepreneurs who's trying to find their way or make their path, and like finances aren't going well, customers, you know, aren't coming in at the speed they want to. Like, what type of advice or motivation would you give that person just to keep going through a down season?
Don't fake it. People say, like, fake it till you make it, and fake it, and you still got all this big stuff going on, expensive things going on, and you're not asking for help, and, you know, you're not talking to nobody, you're just faking it. Oh, no. You're going to fake and fail publicly looking crazy because you were faking. So if you're really going through a tough time and you're really in a position to where things are hard and you need to really take that into yourself and do whatever it takes to change that situation. But as long as you're not internalizing that sense of failure, you're never going to do anything for yourself. So internalize all that failure and get up. Nobody is going to help you get up. You're the one, you have to do that. So yeah, it seems hard. I'm having a hard time and things are tough and money is short, and have you internalized it enough to change it? No, that's why we're still here talking. Right. So come on, so don't depend on anybody, not your family, not the customer that was there yesterday. Failure is just a way for you to say, I'm not doing something intelligently enough. Right. Let me start again. Let me go. But it's you. Right. So just start over and internalize whatever you need to.
I was to say, man, you know, enjoy the journey, because the other side of that is going to be success, and you'll be prepared for it. You'll understand what you went through, and you'll cherish it a lot more. Like, I look back on the days where I'm eating, you know, $5 hot and ready Little Caesars pizza.
Yeah,
and
hey, what about it? What about it?
I'm making it last for like 3 days.
What about it? What about it? Yeah.
You know, dollar chicken sandwiches. You know, like dollar menu. Like, man, like, now when I go to, you know, Ruth Chris or to, you know, Nick and Sam's or ITSO Vegan, you know, I'm enjoying it. You know, I worked hard to be able to eat what I want and enjoy life. So, you know, definitely enjoy the process, the journey. Document it too, even if it's journalism, you know, journaling. You know, some people don't want to put their personal business out there on social media. If you don't journal, write it down so you can go back and, you know, see how far you came.
That's dope. Yeah, they should do that. That's something I'm going to start. Like, I have a little bit of something going, but I'm going to be more committed to doing that, because if that makes you pat yourself on the back even more, look where I came from. Man. That's crazy.
No, I've read a couple passages, and I'm like, man, I was really struggling. Entrepreneurship is tough. I went through, I don't want to call it depression. I don't want to speak that on myself, but it was just a weird moment in my life to where, like, nothing felt right.
Right.
You know, everybody who was reaching out to me needed something. Nobody was just like, hey, KG, how are you? How's your daughter?
Right.
You know, what's going on? This was like, hey, how can I get into this? Can you put me on with this? And it's like, man,
Like, dang.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
care.
dang, you don't care about me.
Yeah. But you know, that's where you go back to earlier. You said having like that, you know, that strong skin, that tough skin, and when I kind of think about it, like nobody owes me anything. But you know, it would be nice to have that circle we talked about. So
I think that they're gonna give it to you. You know, they don't want it. It's all retro. Like we, you know, all of that, all the times, all the moments, all the depression, all of that. You were supposed to be there for me. It's just gonna pour in, and like it's raining, and it'll be like, I deserve this shit.
Yeah.
That's what people be like. That's why you can give the speech and say, I deserve this, because you literally do deserve it. And people say, I deserve it, but everybody in the audience like, I helped you with $20. I helped you $100. Like then you know it's not the same, but you can do that. You know.
Nah, for sure. And we didn't come from, you know, trust fund money. Everything.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is from the mud, you know. So that's why I said enjoy the process. Like, man, we're gonna look up in 5 years and be like, man.
Like, dang, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm ready. I'm ready. It's time. It's the season. I can feel it. There's so many changes. It's even eclipse today. I know you probably even look up in the sky like that, but it's an eclipse today. Like it's crazy. Like the energy is nuts for change right now. So I would say entrepreneurs should just definitely be diving in, falling, getting scraped up, and then standing up. You know, here we are. That's why we're a tribe, because we get each other. You know, so
get up, scrape them bruises off, and keep going.
Yep, that's it.
Thank you so much for sitting down
You're
with me.
welcome.
Look forward to having you at the 5th Annual Co-Sign Awards this year. We lit gang.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, but y'all make sure y'all support ITSO Vegan. Please support. Make sure y'all follow on Instagram. Leave positive reviews, Google reviews, all that good stuff.
Yes.
If you like this episode, have any questions, leave it in the comments, DM us, email us, you know, all that good stuff. Comment, like, share, subscribe. You know how this YouTube gang goes. We at Cosign Magazine, Cosign ITSO Vegan, and y'all guys take it easy. Till next time, we're out.